Todos somos americanos.
It was an astonishing moment, a president of the United States consigning 5 decades of U.S. policy towards Cuba to the scrap heap.
But today we are making these changes because it is the right thing to do. Today America chooses to cut loose the shackles of the past so as to reach for a better future for the Cuban people, for the American people, for our entire hemisphere, and for the world.
Since the 1960s, Fidel Castro and the communist revolution he brought to Cuba have bedeviled successive U.S. presidents. Now, 18 months of secret negotiations between the U.S. and President Raul Castro, Fidel's brother, have yielded a breakthrough, one that allowed President Obama to concede the U.S. attempt to isolate Cuba had failed.
But I believe that we can do more to support the Cuban people and promote our values through engagement. After all, these 50 years have shown that isolation has not worked. It's time for a new approach.
A new approach that we now know was already being discussed when President Obama exchanged a handshake with Raul Castro at the memorial service for Nelson Mandela last year. That first encounter, widely noted at the time, took place as secret negotiations between Washington and Havana were underway. And they led to yesterday's return to U.S. shores of Alan Gross, a contractor imprisoned by the Cubans for the last 5 years. He was the public face of a prisoner swap that included members of the Cuban Five jailed by America and Cuban political prisoners. And his toothless face carried with it the weight of his time in a Havana jail.
In my last letter to President Obama, I wrote that despite my 5-year tenure in captivity, I would not want to trade places with him, and I certainly wouldn't want to trade places with him on this glorious day.
President Obama seized on the moment, authorizing all branches of government to act. At the State Department, John Kerry said he wants to be the first Secretary of State to visit Cuba for 60 years. At the Treasury, they were making plans to allow U.S. banks to invest in Cuba. And at the Department of Commerce, preparing to encourage, not punish, U.S. business initiatives with the island. But on Capitol Hill, the president must still contend with Republican fury.
These changes will lead to legitimacy for a government that shamelessly, continuously abuses human rights, but it will not lead to assistance for those whose rights are being abused. It is just another concession to a tyranny by the Obama administration.
Obama coward! Obama coward!
In Miami's Little Havana, where generations of Cuban exiles have rhetorically battled the Castros, there were mixed views about the White House announcement.
I'm horrified, I'm mortified. This is a disaster. Fidel and Raul Castro have been destroying our country for 55 years, ruling that country like as if they were the queen or something.
If they're doing negotiations, I don't see it as a bad thing. You know, we're getting a pretty big end of the deal. We're able to open up industries. There's not really that many bad things, honestly.
But the fact that some in Miami are backing the idea of improved ties bears out hopes in Washington that a younger generation of Cuban Americans is readier to embrace the president's initiative than their forebears. One man eager for change could be found a stone's throw from the White House, at Draper's Cigar Store. It used to sell Cuban smokes to President Kennedy until he signed legislation banning them.
The curiosity of a new product coming from Cuba that many people haven't been exposed to is enough to drive even the casual smoker in to try a new product.
Soon, tobacco promising Americans the aroma of Cuba may actually be grown and rolled there too. President Obama said that he is under no illusions about the barriers to freedom that remain in Cuba, but he knows that like Richard Nixon's opening to China, this shift in America's policy will go down in history. For a president with a checkered foreign policy record, the chance to change relations with a communist island 90 miles from America's shore could become a feather in his cap. Simon Marks, Washington.